Have you ever done films like that, something like a Twilight or like a suspense or thriller?
I have, my early on in my career, well, early on, I've been doing this for 30 years now, but in my mid 20s, I did a lot of Lifetime movies, and I did a lot of these suspense Lifetime movies where I played, you thought that I was the bad guy that turns out to save the day. These typical kind of Lifetime movies. But I did probably one of the jobs that I'm probably the most proud of to date, or one of that I'm most proud of to date, is a movie called Steel Toes, and it was about a neo-Nazi skinhead, and I shot that when I was in my early 30s, and it was at a time when I was deciding whether or not I wanted to continue to act or not. It was, I hadn't worked in about a year, and I just could not buy myself a job, and I ended up shaving my head, as actors do when they're like, okay, I got to change up my look. I had just changed up my look. I shaved my head. I got this audition for, just out of the blue, got an audition for this skinhead role, and I didn't know anything about it really. But it had been a play that had been performed all around the world, and it just so happened that this incredible actor named David Strathairn, who was nominated for an Academy Award for his portrayal of Edward R. Murrow in Good Night and Good Luck. It was directed by George Clooney. And it was the same year that The Last King of Scotland was Forrest Whitaker was being nominated for an Academy Award as well. And come on, I mean, Forrest Whitaker had an insane performance in Last King of Scotland, but David Strathairn also had an unbelievable performance for this role in Good Night and Good Luck. He had done the play in Pittsburgh just about a year before, and he had told the playwright, and who also was the director of our film, he said, hey, if you ever decide to do a feature film of this, I'd love to be in it. And so I didn't know that David Strathairn had already been attached to do this movie. I ended up booking the role. It shot back in my hometown of Montreal, and we did about a month of rehearsals at this prison called St. Vincent de Paul Prison. It's the prison that was in the movie Catch Me If You Can, Gothica.
Yes.
It's the Parisian, it's the French prison that Leonardo DiCaprio is in at the very beginning of the movie. And Halle Berry shot Gothica there as well. So it's this amazing prison. Very spooky, very creepy place. It's a lot of things have happened there. If the walls could talk, they would have crazy stories. But anyways, we shot at that prison for 6 weeks. And the movie had garnered a lot of interest from film festivals. I won the Borso Best Actor for the Whistler Film Festival. I won a few awards for Best Actor in that film at a few film festivals, and it was really, it was a job that I was really proud of. And it's this portrayal of this young skinhead who murders a Middle Eastern man at the beginning of the film, and then I'm put in prison awaiting my trial, and I have a Jewish attorney that's appointed to me, and he becomes this father figure, and he basically changes. He kind of dismantles this kid's beliefs and belief system throughout the trial, and he meets with him on a daily basis and basically breaks this kid down, and it was loosely based off a true story. Really beautiful story. Very tough to watch. It's for sure it's a heavy movie. It's not a Hallmark movie. But to answer that question, I did a lot of suspense, thriller, and in my earlier 30s, and also going back into my 20s. My bread and butter was actually half-hour comedy. That's what got me my visa to living in the States. I was working on a TV series called Maybe It's Me. That was the first job I booked in Los Angeles, and Fred Willard played my father on it. And so that was my first single camera comedy. Comedy is kind of was my bread and butter. And as we get to do in this career, just a lot of different roles are thrown at me, and I just somehow over the course of the past 10 years have been doing the bulk of my career has been Hallmark movies, but which is great because it's a little bit of everything. You know, you get a little comedy, you get some some dramatic pieces, you get, you know, it's very well-rounded stories that we're telling.